Most three values, and of course collaboration with humility. That is also an important. You have no one is best in this world, so you have to talk to people for a solution. If you go around people, you'll get a lot of ideas. So for us, if you see, AI is not a separate service line or a product offering. It's today part of how we engineer products. Rather than technology, it's our engineering culture that really differentiates Reflections.
Hi everyone, welcome to Reflect Talks, a series of video conversations in which Reflections leaders talk about their innovative services and practices at Reflections. Today we have with us Mohamed Haseel, Director, Digital Practices at Reflections. A true technologist at heart, Haseel has been leading digital innovations journey from exploring emerging technologies to shaping AI-driven strategies that has given Reflection its curve. Welcome to the conversation. So you are always known to be someone who is very passionate about technology. So how do you define your relationship with technology?
That's a good question. So I'm actually a self-taught technologist. I haven't come through any structured trainings or certification programs. So, technology. So, even my current role today, it was more than a job. It was a language that I was speaking from very childhood, and I was very curious. Rather than I was not always users of softwares. I was not always using software. Instead, I was very curious about how it works. When I played a game, when I used a software, or when I have a hardware or a toy in my hand, I used to always dismantle it, repair it, and I think that curiosity is what drives me always. I can name one of the most read articles in my childhood was How Stuff Works. It spoke about how things works, even the smallest thing to your software and architectures and everything. So I always had that curiosity in my mind. So that is one thing that one of the trait I always had and I think that is one thing that shaped my technology and the common sense, the technological sense that I've developed. And even post college days and in early stages of my career, with my peer groups, even today we always debate about very basics and fundamental aspects, like if you heard of OOPS concepts or solid engineering principles. We debate about this, why that, why not this here. So and don't treat me as a nerd, okay? We also debate about movies and things and all. We also talk about these. So I think that's my strongest relationship with technology and everything that I do with. So I made a mental model out of this. That's what it helped me. I made a mental model out of it, which has helped me navigate through any technology landscape which even I haven't known about. So it gives me I think that's a trait that helped me a lot. And apart from that, I think what also helped me is my love for user experience. So I love to see things that I build, how it impacts my customers, how it is used by customers. So we build applications, we build products. I love to see people using it. They're taking pictures of how it's being used and sending it back to us, sharing about the goods and bads about it. We give that care to everything that we built, and that's That's a passion that I have been brought up, and I think that's a culture and reflections as well that we've been going through.
Okay, I've also heard that that technologies are driven by certain values and principles. So, what do you think are the core values or principles that should guide a technologist?
Sure. So the key values and principles that I have been following. Curiosity, of course, we spoke about it. So that's I think the most major factor that have been driving me. Second is, of course, stewardship, if you call it, right? The care for what you build. So the care for what you build, for whom you are building it, how they are going to use it, what is their need of telling us to build it. Without understanding that whatever we build, because at the end you have to understand whatever you build has to be usable by someone. So that care for what you build will drive you to questions on why someone is asking you to build it, what is their need, what is the purpose of using it, what is the outcome they are trying out of it. I think that is second most important value that an engineer or a technology builder should have. The third thing would be thinking long term. Don't solve for today. So people tell you about their current problems, and you might be creating solutions for it. But you as a technologist or you as a solution provider should think beyond a little bit more, see how this is going to transform, see how their needs are going to change over a period of time once you deliver the solution, how their needs will change. You have to also make your whatever solutions you engineer has to be adaptive to that. So if you didn't think of it on at least a short or long term, the thing that you create will be very soon obsolete. I think that's the most three values, and of course collaboration with humility. That is also an important. You have no one is best in this world, so you have to talk to people for a solution. If you go around people, you will get a lot of ideas. Every perspective has to be valued.
So, Haseel, we are right now living in a world where AI is actually transforming how businesses operate. So, what is your views in this AI disruption that characterizes how these businesses operate?
Great. The disruption is massive, of course, we all have been seeing it. But I would like to see it, or my perspective is rather than seeing it as a disruption, disruption is of course an outcome of it. But I see it more like a evolution of technology. So there has been multiple evolutions. If you look at the chronography, there has been, before this there has been deep learning models, your statistical models, your big data coming in, where you called it data is a big oil. Before that you had the smartphone disruption, then cloud infrastructures coming in, which enabled SaaS model of businesses. You had containerization, virtualization, all this bringing up new architecture patterns like microservices. You go back all the way, you will reach up to the age where electricity came. So all these are evolutions. Now every evolution goes through a defined process, not a defined process, but that's nature's process. In technology also that happens. So a variation of a technology or a variation of something comes in, then everyone tries to adapt to it. Everyone tries to adapt or adopt or find their perspective of it. Then there is a natural selection of who survives, who doesn't survive. Then once that gets stabilized, there is a model where it gets established and it moves forward. I think AI also would follow the same journey. The massiveness of disruption is it has reduce the lines between these phases of evolution. It has been massive. It has crossed maybe the first two layers of evolution very quickly, and now people are trying to find different perspectives of how our businesses are trying to find how AI can add value to their customers. It flew into the business outcomes really quick rather than a traditional slow evolution journey. So to say, disruption has been massive, but this always happens in everything, including technology.
So taking this AI, how do you view the workspace? Because AI is no longer a distant friend. AI has become more like a co-worker. So what is your views on that?
So it has impacted every co-working space. If you go into any business, even the tea shop, AI has started bringing something over there. So it's showing its value in every co-working space. So specific to, if you look at our co-working space, there is a misconception as well. But my perspective is, or more than changing who will do things, it changes how you do things. So it gives more space for people to be creative, focus on solutioning, focus on real customer problem statements and building solution around it, specking right solution, bringing creative value out of it, rather than doing a lot of operational or repetitive things. It was not, so when we say repetitive things, it was not repetitive maybe a year back, but today with the advancement that AI has brought, all this has become repetitive. The programming, you couldn't have thought 2 or 3 years back a bot would do the complex levels of programming that it can do today, but all this has become now autonomous repetitive things. So it changes the way you work. So people who know how to navigate that ways of working, I think would naturally fall into the line. People who haven't gone through that would need to go through a structured process to fall into that kind of a working space. And it's more about rather than changing roles of people, it's more about you understanding how you navigate through this. So given a task, you need to be able to, or given a problem statement, you need to be able to split it to different tasks and see what is today automatable, what is not automatable. Focus on the non-automatable by human, by us. The automatable ones would be driven by these agents and bots, and you just need to supervision or give it feedback and correct it. That's how I see it.
So we talked about AI being important. So how important do you think data and AI is for Reflection's long-term digital engineering strategy?
So today digital doesn't stand out without data. So you can think of it as a scaffolding, a structure or a framework. Without the actual building is what digital is, if there is no data and AI. So you build out something, that is how customers interact with it. You're building an experience layer, you're building APIs, you're building mechanisms with which people interact with software, but the actual value and outcome comes from the data behind it. So the data is a thing that delivers a value to the, and that is what your customers use. AI has been adding an intelligent value on top of it, and very recently it has added much more intelligence and a brain kind of a mini brain kind of an effect on top of it. So like you say, data is the new oil. Without data there is no point of an application or a digital interface. It's hard to survive. There could be very limited use cases. And if you look at how we in Reflections, how we are organized, so these are maybe the trio pillars. the user experience and digital, that forms one pillar, data forms other pillar, and AI forms other pillar. So for us, if you see, AI is not a separate service line or a product offering. It's today part of how we engineer products, from all the way from development to QA to automation or deployment, whatever. AI is part of everything, and data is of course the backing of what we deliver to our customers.
So when you talked about the keys and values and principles, you had mentioned about customers. So taking into customer requirements, so is there any difference that you have noticed in the approach to innovation in this context of AI?
Oh yeah, customer requirements. The natural way of how requirements comes today has changed. Some customers has started drafting large documents. They use GPT. They put their idea. They come with prototypes. And, now they know vibe coding. They go and build small prototypes and come to us, and then ask us to make it production grade and scalable and resilient and bring in security and all those aspects. That is one part of it. Second part of it is, many customers have changed the way of how they are thinking of their business and the business model itself. So rather than rather than asking about features or talking about adding new features as what we called requirement earlier, today customers are asking us to add more sense and intelligence into applications. They want applications that can adapt, that can learn, that can improve over a period of time by itself. So I think there is a lot of thanks to social media, and there is a lot of knowledge that's been spreading, and I think many of at least customers that we are working with have adapted to that. They understand how this is changing and how it can, and we help them now envision how it can really fit into their ecosystem and things. So to us, the most disruptive way of how requirements has comes is this, that is, we now add more sense into applications rather than business rules that we called earlier. Now we give applications context, we give it data, information, and it's also fed with how you interact in a human language and how you the customer's domain and those aspects, which is adding more intelligence into applications and adding features today. That's primarily how requirements has changed.
So now to take into like the latest emerging technologies, what do you think are the most important ones and that might create an impact in the near future?
AI, of course, we spoke a lot of AI. In that context, if you speak, one most important thing is data governance and its controls and privacy. So, as AI grows, people are worried about how their data is accessible, what is reachable to others, or what AI can access. AI being given control with agents and toolings and things, will AI manipulate and interpret my data in a different way? So tackling that governance and observability on data and AI would be one major factor. Then would be modern integrations and API ecosystems. Most of the applications and products that we build today, there are a lot of protocols that is there in the market today, called MCP, A2A, and many other protocols. So most of the products that we build today is compatible with it. One of the important factors is any new applications and building adapters and frameworks that enable any applications to interact with this modern age AI tools and agents and agentic frameworks. That would be the second thing. The next would be intelligent automation. So we've been speaking intelligent automation and hyper automation for very long, but it has tremendously changed how we automate things in the last 2 years. Today, what could be automatable? Today it has changed drastically with this LLMs and agents and agentic architectures. In today's world, there is a lot of things that you couldn't automate 2 years back that is automatable today. Lots of areas like wherever context is there, your outreaches, when speaking to people, there is a lot of bots today speaking to people as if it's a person who is talking to them. Even in our own processes, we brought in a lot of automation, like in testing processes, in creating automation test packs. Testing is, I think, one of the major areas where we could bring in automation. Then it's SREs, triages, monitoring and upkeeping of production systems. All these were thought to be non-automatable, human-intensive things, but there was a very thin line between a rule and intelligence over there, which LLM could massively take over. So I think automation is another potential area. Finally, of course, cybersecurity. So without security interfaces and security frameworks, you can never trust what an AI bot gives you, or you will never trust bringing AI into your home or into your office or into your business. So having cybersecurity practices to govern and secure and make sure it interacts with the right data, right people, right documents is really important.
So, Haseel, you have been someone who has been with Reflections for a long time, and you were part of Reflections' growth journey for a long time. You have seen how it was. So, what is that one significant technology that will become a differentiator for Reflections in coming days?
To call out one technology, it might be difficult. So, of course, all the technologies that we discussed today will become differentiating factors for us and any other dependents like us. But I would say, rather than technology, it's our engineering culture that really differentiates Reflections. It's not a specific technology. So we built a culture and a team and process that helps our engineering team adapt and learn continuously, shift or pivot into any new technologies very easily, build outcomes out of it. To me, that's going to be the differentiator, or that is the differentiator of Reflections and our engineering. So whether we do a modernization or we do a product development or build an application with AI at its core or build agentic systems, our mindset is the same. So you build with you build with that passion, build with the stewardship for the customer. You build reliable in a reliable way. We have processes to make sure it's we care for the system that we build, and we make sure our health services we constantly check the health of the application, and we have a process of how you measure outcomes. That I think that culture is what differentiates us, and it's not a technology. We've embraced AI very quickly. Our team has upskilled, cross-skilled. I think specifically to call out not a specific technology, but it's a culture of the team.
Okay, so before we talked about how important data and AI is, so with this data and AI taking the center, there has been this data privacy and ethical use concerns also rising. So how do you actually ensure that our systems and solution uphold these AI principles?
So So you're asking about responsible AI. So we start by treating privacy as part of our design system, and so we've created reference architectures and process and policies in which privacy and security is within the design, and governance also is within the design. You should come to some of our architecture reviews. So every architecture reviews that we go into, we ask all these questions. We ask who are the users, what is the data that they share with the application, where is the data getting stored, who can access those data, is it anonymized wherever possible, we define different levels of asset classification. Based on that, there might be different levels of controls that you place on top of it. So privacy is part of the design. Now, when you speak about responsible AI or applications with AI at its core being responsible, it's a mechanism by which you can trace down to every route that the application has gone, every decision that the application has made on its own, every output that the application generated back, or any plan that the application created on its own is validatable with enough reasoning, is what we call as a responsible AI application. So we have that baked into our framework as well. We call it STAR framework. And governance and responsibility is baked as a grounding layer into it.
Innovation is something that makes stuff relevant, and innovation is something that never stops. So how do you equip our tech teams to support continuous AI innovation alongside delivery?
Yeah, so any technology is adopted only if it's accessible, right? Even if you look at how ChatGPT got that hype and how it got used, they made it accessible to everyone, free to everyone, and they created use cases that everyone could relate to. They didn't say this is AI agentic automation and this is LLM brains, and they said we built something through which you can talk to it and write stories, poems, and people started creating songs and things. So that's how you connect. That's how human beings connect. We do similar. So learning is not a training program for us. So it's into everyday life. So we have a lot of internal initiatives. We have a huge backlog of innovative ideas that we've got from our internal departments and people, and our engineering teams are encouraged to collaborate on it. So they can come in, whatever technology it be, they can come and learn, build things, and they can treat each of these departments as their stakeholders and go to them, talk to them, understand how they use it, and make it better. Same is for AI, and we actually created our own Reflections AI stack, so they have accessibility to that. So unless you make it accessible, when VR came in, when there was this metaverse boom, so how do you skill up? You cannot skill up unless your engineers have VR gears to play with, unless they use it, look at it, they look around in it, they don't experience what's a wow feel in it, they will never be able to build experiences on it. Same way is what we did with AI as well. So we made it accessible to everyone, so that they can play around with. We encouraged our people for using it for coding, automations, testing, whatever it may be, or building products. We gave them ideas that is really useful within the organization or with our customers. We ran internal hackathons. We are in the edge of doing an external hackathon as well. So that's how we encourage them, and how we take them through that journey. my advice to every co-engineer that works with me is that continuous and consistent improvement is what you always need. You need to be curious. You need to learn at least one thing every day, and it doesn't need to be a new technology, even a new way of doing things, be it a design pattern or be it even a business case, something in the domain of your customer, a new term, even that is enough. So cumulatively you will learn a lot of things. So as I told you earlier, that's in the culture. Technology will keep changing faster than we think. AI today is very fast. Tomorrow's evolution might be faster than this, than you can think. So that reflections is not it's not about we chasing every trend, but we stay true to our grounded values and our culture. We encourage everyone to be curious. We encourage everyone to be to give care to what they build. We encourage everyone to be motivated by how it impacts the lives of people. We encourage everyone to collaborate with others and build solutions collaboratively, not being heroes, rather being teams.
Yeah, it is truly inspiring to hear you speak, and thank you for sharing your perspectives and your ideas on innovation, AI, and the future of digital innovation. And it is inspiring to hear that Reflection is embracing all of these changes while staying true to this responsible AI principles. Thank you, Haseel.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you. Today we had with us Mohamed Haseel, Director of Digital Practice, who shared his thoughts on technology, leadership and role of AI in Reflection's digital journey. Meet you in another episode of Reflect Talks with another expert. Thank you.